If you've ever attended a wedding or my elementary school gym class or practically any gathering that plays any sort of dance music, you've probably heard this song.
To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. Right foot, left stomp.
It's truly a song beloved by everyone who loves being embarrassed in public. However, it's as much a perplexing song as it is catchy. Within the first few seconds, there's tons of questions raised by it.
This is something new, the Casper Slide Part 2, featuring the Platinum Band, and this time, we're gonna get funky.
Is it called the Cha-Cha Slide or the Casper Slide Part 2? Is there a Casper Slide Part 1? Who are the Platinum Band? These questions bubble up, and surprisingly, there are virtually no answers on the internet. So that's why today, I'm taking it upon myself to answer every question raised by the mysterious Cha-Cha Slide. As I mentioned, when trying to research the answers to these questions, there were always two different websites giving me two different answers, or there just straight up weren't any answers available. I thought long and hard about if I should even continue with this project, because I was coming up with nothing. But then it hit me. I knew who to go to. I knew who could give me all the answers. The man himself, DJ Casper. William Perry Jr. was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and he still lives there today. Nowadays, he's a practicing DJ still, and he hosts his own internet radio show called Casper Classic Radio. Mr. Perry was gracious enough to give me some of his time so we could answer these lingering questions and misconceptions about his famous track. As expected, going to the source yielded some surprisingly easy and quick answers. Before we get to the big questions, let's answer some of the little bits of information that the internet can't seem to quite get right. Wikipedia and a few other sites claim that this track was inspired by the Chicago Steppin' movement of the 70s and 80s, which was born out of R&B.
No, that's not true.
Not true. Was there something else that inspired it at all?
Because the Cha-Cha Slide actually started off as a aerobic exercise. It wasn't even a dance.
It turns out DJ Casper wrote the Cha-Cha Slide as an aerobic exercise for his nephew who worked at a Bally Total Fitness in Chicago. The next question I had for DJ Casper is, who are the Platinum Band? Internet results yielded practically nothing when it came to this elusive group.
The Platinum Band is a band that has been around the world. They used to play with Tyrone Davis.
It turns out the Platinum Band are a popular backing band from Chicago. They typically back jazz and blues musicians, as DJ Casper mentioned, but they decided to help out with this track. Finally, I needed to know. It was burning in my brain, and the answers needed to be given to the world. If the track we're familiar with is known as the Cha-Cha Slide, why does he say it's the Casper Slide Part 2 at the beginning?
The music that I had for Part 1 couldn't be used, so I had to redo it.
Was there a reason why the music in Part 1 wasn't able to be used? Is it like a copyright thing?
Yeah, it was a copyright issue.
That means there does exist a Part 1, or at least it used to exist. There are no recordings of it, and if there were any, they've been destroyed at this point. All that exists now is the Casper Slide Part 2, which is just a reworked, revamped version of that original aerobic exercise. And the only people who have ever heard the Part 1 are the people that went to that Bally Total Fitness in Chicago during that time. Part 2 became a huge hit on the radio in Chicago, and then it quickly spread all across the country and became the dance craze you know today. However, this information goes deeper than I expected. I then followed up by asking why people refer to it as the Cha-Cha Slide and not the Casper Slide Part 2, which is its actual name. And I was not expecting the answer I got.
No, the Cha-Cha Slide is actually a whole different song.
The whole time, I'd been wrestling with the duality of Parts 1 and 2. I hadn't even stopped to consider a third option, lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce on my investigation. The company that DJ Casper was working with at the time, Men on Business Music Publishing, was pushing to release an entire slide album filled with slide tracks that people could listen to. The Casper Slide Part 2 blew up, and they produced a few other slide tracks produced by various other artists in the area. But it also opened with a track that is actually the Cha-Cha Slide that I had literally never heard until this moment.
This is the Cha-Cha Slide, y'all. I want everybody to come up on the stage, and we gonna do this. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Alright, come on y'all, clap it up. Alright, come on y'all, clap it up. Oh yeah.
And just like that, in a few minutes, I had unraveled the enigma of the cha-cha slide. Finally, my brain could have the closure that it needed from these unending questions. Nights I spent poring over the internet, poring over articles to try and find these answers when I could have just gone to the man himself. DJ Casper is still producing tracks for all ages in Chicago, and you can listen to his radio show, Casper Classic Radio, on the Step North Go app. I'd like to thank him so much for his time and for giving me the solid facts. And in the immortal words of William Perry Jr.,
I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.